Friends, today's story is about a couple who move into a new apartment to enjoy some private time together. But what starts as fun turns into something far more complicated when they begin watching another couple living across from them. As Natalia becomes more and more fascinated, it leads to a situation that puts Thomas's life in danger. The movie opens with Natalia and her boyfriend Thomas arriving at a new apartment. From their conversation, we learn that they've just moved in together and are excited to start this new chapter in their relationship. The apartment manager reminds them not to make any alterations to the rooftop. Later that night, as they enjoy dinner together, we see how happy and hopeful they are about their future. They even talk about not having kids for at least 4 years so they can enjoy life together for a while. But suddenly, a light from the apartment across the street grabs their attention. When they look closer, they see a man photographing a woman. Soon, the two across the way grow very intimate, and Natalia and Thomas end up sharing a romantic moment of their own. The next day, Natalia meets her friend Ari and excitedly tells her about the couple she saw last night. We then learn that Natalia and Thomas work at an optical store. That evening, they once again peek across the street and start playfully naming the couple they're watching, calling the man Barrett and the woman Margot. During dinner, they see Barrett suddenly choking and Margot rushing to save him. When Natalia sees Barrett shirtless, she finds herself strangely drawn to him. Eventually, Natalia buys a binocular to get a closer look, and what she sees shocks her. Barrett has brought another woman home, a model. After taking her photos, the two get very close. Natalia and Thomas start joking, but can't help feeling a little uneasy. What if Margot suddenly walks in? Time passes, but nothing happens. Still, Natalia's interest in Barrett keeps growing. She even tells her friends about everything she observes. She starts wishing she could listen to their conversations, not just watch. Thomas's friend Johnny then tells her that back in college, Thomas had built a laser-based listening device that could pick up sound from a distance. This gives Natalia an idea. Back home, she insists Thomas recreate that device, though Thomas initially refuses, saying it's illegal and a complete invasion of privacy. Natalia keeps pushing. Finally, he agrees, explaining they'll first need to install a mirror in the other apartment so that the laser can reflect back the sound. Soon, they find out there's going to be a Halloween party at Barrett's place, and the two decide to use it as a chance to sneak in and set up the mirror. They dress up in fancy costumes and head to the party, pretending to be guests. At the party, Barrett even clicks a photo of them. After enjoying the party for a while, Natalia cleverly places a small mirror inside Barrett's apartment. Meanwhile, when Thomas heads to the bathroom, he spots Barrett coming out of it, and inside, he sees a woman whose lipstick is smudged all over her face, clearly indicating that Barrett had been intimate with her right there. Back home, Natalia and Thomas begin observing the couple again. As they listen in, they realize that Barrett and his partner's relationship isn't as perfect as it seemed. Apparently, Margot had seen Barrett with another woman during the party. A heated argument breaks out between them. Barrett insists that everything he does is for his work and that he's willing to cross any line for it. Things escalate, and in a rage, he throws objects at Margot. Witnessing this leaves Natalia and Thomas disturbed. The next morning, by chance, Margot visits Natalia's optical store to get her glasses checked. That's when Natalia learns her real name is Julia. During their conversation, they even exchange phone numbers, and Natalia suggests they hang out sometime. Meanwhile, back at the apartment, Thomas keeps an eye on Barrett. He watches as yet another model shows up for a photo shoot. Barrett takes revealing pictures of her, and at one point removes his own clothes, seemingly to make her feel more comfortable. But Thomas realizes Barrett is intentionally cheating on Julia. Not just for work, but out of habit. Later, Barrett and the model grow close, eventually becoming physically involved. When Natalia returns home, excited to talk about her meeting with Julia, Thomas tells her about what he saw. Natalia is upset, especially after seeing Barrett's true nature. She decides to tell Julia the truth about her husband. Thomas tries to reason with her, saying it's not their place to interfere in someone else's relationship. But Natalia insists she wants to tell Julia just once, so she knows what's going on. A few days later, Natalia and Julia meet at a spa. As they talk, Natalia learns that Julia truly loves her husband and wants to stay with him. So Natalia chooses not to reveal the truth. Through this conversation, Natalia finds out Barrett's real name is Sebastian. But even after this, she continues watching them. Seeing Sebastian repeat his actions fills her with anger. One day, Natalia manages to gain access to Julia's printer and sends a warning message anonymously, letting Julia know her husband is cheating on her. Just then, Thomas wakes up and sees what Natalia has done. Angry and upset, he confronts her. Thomas tells Natalia that she needs to stop spying on their neighbors. Just then, they spot Julia holding a knife and walking to another room. Thomas panics and tries to call the police, but before he can finish the call, Julia angrily slams the knife onto the table, not on anyone, so Thomas halts the call. The next morning, after some serious discussion, Natalia and Thomas agree to stop watching Sebastian and Julia. But just then, Natalia looks through the binoculars and sees Julia lying unconscious on the floor. Soon after, she sees Sebastian lifting her lifeless body, covered in blood. Horrified, Thomas blames Natalia for what happened. He tells her that if she hadn't interfered in their lives, Julia might still be alive. Hurt and angry, he says, "If you truly loved me, you would have listened to me." Then he walks out and leaves Natalia all alone. Days pass, and Thomas never returns to the apartment. We begin to understand that Natalia has developed a strange obsession with watching Sebastian. She just can't stop herself. One evening, she follows him to a nearby bar. As she watches, Sebastian catches her and, without wasting any time, begins asking her personal questions. During the conversation, Natalia realizes that Sebastian has a habit of sleeping around. And even though he claims he loved his wife, Julia, he seemed to enjoy these affairs far too much. After sharing drinks, Sebastian invites Natalia to his place, and despite everything, she agrees. Deep down, she too had urges that she thought only Sebastian could satisfy. At his apartment, like he did with all the models, Sebastian starts taking photos of Natalia. Before long, he seduces her, and she willingly gives in. Meanwhile, we see Thomas return to their apartment, showing that he couldn't stay away from Natalia. But when he looks into the opposite flat, he sees Natalia with Sebastian, sitting on top of him, and the sight devastates him. After spending the night with Sebastian, Natalia sneaks out and heads back home, only to find Thomas's lifeless body. He had taken his own life the previous night. Shocked and heartbroken, Natalia collapses. In the days that follow, Natalia stays in complete grief, haunted by guilt. She realizes that a moment of lust cost an innocent man his life. Unable to carry the weight of her actions, she decides to meet her friend Ari and confesses everything. Ari, trying to console her, tells her what every best friend would say: "This isn't your fault." But Natalia can't stop blaming herself for Julia's and Thomas's deaths. Wanting closure, Natalia goes to meet Sebastian one last time, at an auditorium where his photo exhibition is being held. But what she sees shocks her to her core. She sees Julia, alive, walking toward the stage. Natalia is left completely shocked. The next moment, her nude photo appears on the screen, marking the start of the exhibition. She sees large digital projections showing photos of her and Thomas, displayed like a real-life photo story. And in the final picture, Thomas hanging from the ceiling, lifeless. As the exhibition continues, both the audience and Natalia realize what's truly happened, how one couple invaded another couple's life, and in doing so, destroyed their own. Devastated, Natalia storms out of the gallery and heads straight to Sebastian's apartment. There, she discovers a hidden surveillance setup, cameras and monitors, revealing the horrifying truth. Sebastian and Julia had been spying on them from the very beginning. Everything, the flirty behavior, the seductive nights, the intimate moments, was part of a pre-planned scheme. All of it was staged to pull them in and use their life as content for Sebastian's real-life photo series. Enraged, Natalia smashes the monitors and cameras. Cut to the next scene, a TV interview featuring Sebastian and Julia. Their controversial exhibition has become world famous, just as they planned. During the Q&A, a reporter asks, "Don't you feel responsible for a man's death during your project?" Sebastian responds smugly, "We didn't force anyone to die. What we did was completely legal. We were just observing them." His words show no remorse. Instead, he's proud of the fame they've earned. After the interview, they return home to find a bottle of wine at their front door with a note, seemingly from a prestigious magazine, congratulating them. They happily pour the wine and celebrate their success. But just then, the printer starts spitting out papers with a chilling message. "Thomas didn't take his own life. You both killed him." They quickly look across to the neighboring apartment. Natalia is standing on the rooftop, watching them. As Sebastian spots her, Natalia runs away and hides in her store. But soon, Sebastian and Julia arrive, demanding answers. "Do you have any proof?" they ask. Suddenly, Julia faints, and Sebastian starts to feel dizzy too. It all clicks. The wine wasn't from a magazine. Natalia had sent it, laced with a sedative. Once they lose consciousness, Natalia uses a laser device to permanently blind both of them, ensuring they can never ruin another life again. In the final scene, A new couple moves into Natalia's old apartment. Just like before, they start watching Sebastian and Julia, who now sit silently, their eyes lifeless and blind. And with that, the twisted cycle closes.